Alrighty, joining me now is an MMA lightweight fighter who defeated Travis Gervais in the co-main event of Mercenary Combat League 1 last Friday night in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Please welcome Curtis Demarce to the program for the very first time. Kurt, how's it going?
Good, man. How's it going?
Doing very well, thank you for asking, and thank you very much for the time, and congratulations on the win last week. Give me your thoughts. You defeated Travis Gervais by a second-round submission. Did it play out how you expected, and were you happy with the win?
Yeah, I'm definitely happy with the win. He came back. He came out more explosive, and he surprised me more than I thought he would. He was very explosive, very athletic, and he had very quick twitch with his hips. He was able to, throw a lot of flashy kicks, which I wasn't really expecting throughout my training camp. So definitely threw me off guard. But as soon as I, kept my composure and I stuck to my game plan, I think I overwhelmed him, and I switched the game up there in the early second round on him. So was able to get the win and definitely happy.
Was it difficult to switch up your game plan? Because, as you said, it sounds like you weren't necessarily going in there looking for a submission.
Not really, no. I think that's just, experience. Was he hitting me hard? No. But he was definitely dangerous with his strikes. And definitely after, a little bit of a layoff, and I didn't get much sparring in this camp. So for me, it definitely kind of threw me off, and I hesitated a bit. And, just at the end of the round of the first, I knew I needed to switch my game plan. And I'm very confident in my wrestling and my jiu-jitsu, always have been. So, I wanted to kind of rattle his brain and kind of throw him off as well. So I think I did that early in the second. So
why did you not do much sparring leading up to this fight?
I had a couple injuries leading into the fight. I was dealing with actually a broken foot. I was dealing with some other issues, and I think I've done a lot of sparring in my day, and I just wanted to train more strategically, work on angles and footwork and things that I, needed to work on just to better my striking and better myself for the whole MMA game. And, I'm a big believer in movement and energy, and for me, I came in phenomenal shape, and I knew that, with my experience as well, I think that should have overwhelmed him, from the beginning of the fight as well. So,
how big of an advantage is your experience? Because Travis Gervais going in, he was, I believe, 4-1. He has just a small fraction of the amount of fights you've had professionally. You've been in this game for a long time. How big of an advantage is that?
Honestly, I think that it plays a role. I believe it plays a role later in the rounds. I believe, anyone with that type of experience is dangerous. I think they've, especially with the resume that I have, I've gone to the deep waters, multiple decisions, with some of the top-tier guys at that weight class. So, I think that's dangerous on any opponent that has had that type of experience, just due to the fact that they're able to, kind of dig in the toolbox and dish out, just little veteran tricks and little things that, rookies or guys that are just starting out don't really see as often, right? So, and just to buy time as well, be smart, fight more strategically, and I think it definitely played an advantage, but like I said, Travis was game, he was hungry, and definitely has a huge, bright future. His only other loss was UFC top contender Kevin Lee. So, good on him, and he was the only guy around this area in Canada that was willing to take the fight. So, props to Travis.
Did you have other opponents lined up that fell through?
No, actually, we had a couple Americans lined up, and happened to work out that there was a local guy that ended up accepting the fight, and it just made more sense for the fans and for a local event, especially Mercenary's Gabriel and Andre's first showing. I thought that that fight made more sense, and he was a game opponent, so the commission approved it, and I'm happy Travis took that fight.
And Gervais had a good start. He did well in the first round. He was doing pretty well on the feet. But I think what you said about your experience advantage, sort of, it was proved in the fight. He did well early, but you started to take over. Once you sort of changed your game plan a little bit, you started to take over real quick in that second round. Do you feel like that sort of proves what you were talking about your experience advantage?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he came out explosive. He came out hungry. Definitely threw me off guard. But I think it was just, that experience and the fact that I've been in there so many times, I was able to take his power and, kind of find his rhythm and timing, and that's what I did. I kept my composure, stayed calm and collective, and then at the end of the first round, when I took him down, I just knew how much stronger my grappling was, just physically. I was able to get on top of him, and I just knew, let's switch this up. This is mixed martial arts. We're not having a Muay Thai fight here. So I switched it up on him, and it worked out to my advantage. And, that was the game plan, was to go out there, feel him out, and, see how it was. And unfortunately, he definitely threw me off guard, like I said, so I started hesitating a bit. And I didn't feel myself in there. I wasn't able to find my timing, my rhythm. I usually push the pace a lot more, and I usually throw a lot of volume with my boxing. I usually throw 5, 6, 7 punch combos, and I wasn't able to get those punches off that night. So I knew I had to do something, and I wasn't feeling comfortable standing at all. So I knew I had to switch the game plan, and I did that, and fortunately enough, he left his neck open, and I snagged that. So.
Now, you were born in Brandon, Manitoba, and this was the first pro MMA card here in your home province of Manitoba. It happened just a couple hours from Brandon in Winnipeg, of course. What was it like fighting, in your home province for the first time in many, many years?
It's awesome. I think, this is as much as people don't really want to believe it. I think Manitoba has had some tough guys, tough competitors come out of Manitoba. I think this is a fighting community in general, right? I mean, but it's definitely a province that is very difficult to market. Mixed martial arts being such a new sport, and with the commission and everything being fairly newer in Manitoba, it's definitely a pleasure to be able to be a part of it. I wish there would be more of it. I know that when I first started in mixed martial arts in my professional debut in my early days, there was a few shows, and Krzysztof Szynski was running Ultimate Cage Wars with Gabriel Santos. There's a few other shows, CFC, and I just think that these type of cards could be filled and be busy, every couple months. So I hope it continues. I love fighting in front of my friends and fans and my family, and maybe we can bring it to Brandon one day as well. But, like I said, I think this has always been a fighting spot. I think there's opportunity to grow here. I think that, it being such a hockey community as well, I think, mixed martial arts just kind of fits into that slot, and, hopefully it grows. I'm excited.
And one more thing about the fight with Gervais. Did you take this on short notice? Because I know MCL announced it really late. It was like a week or to 10 days before the card last Friday. Or was it because the commission did not approve fights very early at all? They took their time, certainly, to say the least. Did you take this on short notice, or was the late announcement just because of the commission not approving it yet?
Yeah, no, what had happened was actually... we had known for about a month prior, but what had happened was I was already in training. I was already training, in training camp. But what had happened was I was because Tim Haig's death in Edmonton there, one of my good friends, unfortunately, there was some unfortunate events that had happened with the Edmonton Commission. They were claiming that I was still under a medical suspension due to the fact of my broken foot in 2016 when I beat Parvez. And unfortunately, what had happened is I was cleared for a pro boxing fight earlier this year, but because I was cleared for boxing, they were saying that I wasn't cleared for a mixed martial arts fight, and for that reason I'm still under a suspension until my medical doctor was clearing it. Well, what they didn't realize was whether you're cleared for boxing or mixed martial arts, it's the same commission. So that reason alone, I more or less just had to wait for the Edmonton doctor to get back from Houston from the tragic hurricane, and he was able to lift my suspension. And as soon as that was lifted, then we were allowed to announce the fight. Unfortunately, it only gave me about a week to promote it and get the Brandon, my Brandon friends and family and fans out. But that's the way it goes sometimes, and I was blessed enough to be able to compete. So.
Well, I actually had heard about what you just described, regarding the Edmonton Commission, and I plan to talk to you about it. Very interesting, from what I had heard, and you can clarify and talk a bit more about it. But it sounds like, the Commission and Pat Reid had made a mistake with sending, I guess, the bout agreement to the wrong person. I guess it was he sent it to the person in control of the boxing side of it all, and then you were going to be punished, even though they were the ones that made a mistake. Is that sort of? Am I right there?
No, not necessarily. What had happened was, like I said, in September of 2016 at Unified, I broke my foot. I got an indefinite suspension. What had happened was I ended up fighting my pro boxing debut in May of this year, 2017, and I needed to get that cleared. So I ended up getting my foot cleared. It was healed. They allowed and they lifted my suspension then to approve me for the boxing fight. And then a month after that, I ended up fighting mixed martial arts, another MMA fight in Lethbridge. Well, what had happened was Lethbridge automatically thought my suspension was lifted, so they ended up lifting my suspension. So what had happened was Joel from the commission here in Winnipeg and in Manitoba, he had thought that because the Edmonton Commission wasn't allowing me to, they were basically saying that, like I said, they were allowing me to fight boxing, and they were saying that my suspension was lifted for boxing, but it wasn't lifted for mixed martial arts. And the reason, and then what had happened was they said that because I went to Lethbridge to fight, I technically fought illegally, and for that reason they were going to hold my suspension. But in legal terms, I would technically have a legal case against Lethbridge at that point. So what had happened was Pat Reid from the Edmonton Commission actually, when he lifted my boxing fight, he lifted the suspension. What had happened was he forgot to send in the medical from my doctor to clear me, and he forgot to take it off. He forgot to take it off the database. So what was happening was Joel from Manitoba was seeing that I was still suspended on the database, and until I was taken off, I was considered still suspended indefinitely. So it's all cleared up. Everything's good now, but it was definitely a headache throughout my training camp. So,
do you fault Pat Reid and the Edmonton Commission here, or do you believe that it was more just an honest mistake?
You know what? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot going on with that commission, and a lot going on with the investigation of Tim Haig and everything. I've worked with Pat Reid for 12 years of my career now, and he's never misled me in any type of way. I've never had a problem with Pat Reid. He's always guided me in the right way, and he's always protected me and the fighters. And I have nothing bad to say about Pat Reid. So for me, it was just unfortunate that my name was brought into it, whether it was between the commissions or whatnot, but I definitely had to get, the point across that I wasn't suspended, and I did my work, and I more or less, got the suspension lifted. So I'm very happy for that, and I have no comment as far as, whose fault it was. I really don't know, but I think there was just a huge miscommunication, and I think, like I said, once the doctor, Cartman, had returned back from Houston, I knew that it would be good. It was just a matter of time of whether I would have enough time to announce to, my friends and family and be able to sell tickets, and time was cutting short. That was all. That was my only concern.
Okay, well, thank you for clearing that up, and thank you, and it's good to hear your side of all of this, and thankfully that everything got cleared up, because I know you were very close to not fighting in Winnipeg last week. So
yeah, and it was definitely frightful for sure. I was really hoping to be able to perform in front of my home province. So.
Yeah. I gotta ask you, a little confused as far as where you're training. So you're born in Brandon. You walked out with your Bama t-shirts, with your Bama team, but on Facebook, I don't know if this was a mistake or if this is true. It says you live in California.
Yeah, I actually was living in San Diego, California for about 5 years. I ended up moving back here at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
I got a great job here. So, I'm training full time still, but I got a good gig going on here. Definitely going to be going back to San Diego within the next half a year, even. It's just I came back for business, and I love San Diego. It's the mecca. It's the mecca for training, mecca for mixed martial arts, and it's really progressed my game. So I feel I'm almost away from home when I'm even at home, So for me, I love Brandon. I love Manitoba, and definitely will always call it home. But as far as my training camps, I still consider the arena and the Alliance down in San Diego. I still consider that my training. So in the meantime, Bama's my family. I train with them every day. But like I said, that's where I really get my training in, is down south.
All right, so my last question for you, Curtis, is a bit of an odd one, just because this happened a year and a half ago, and I'm sure it's something you've completely moved past and have been past before, but I remember reaching out to you and getting your initial thoughts on this, but I never really followed up and never got your full side of the story. You were supposed to fight Adam Lorenzen at Prestige FC2 in Regina, Saskatchewan in March of 2016. That fight fell apart. Cord Crothers and the Prestige FC organization pulled you from that fight, pulled the entire fight from the card, and they made all of these accusations against you, saying you never wanted to fight, you never wanted to be on the card, you didn't want to fight Lorenzen, and all of this. And then I reached out to you, and you obviously had a completely different side of the story. I know the medicals weren't in, but that wasn't necessarily your fault. The doctor just didn't fax it. You were going to take legal action. What happened after that?
Yeah, that guy's a piece of shit. I mean, that's all I can say about that. And I mean, everyone knows that. The dude, he's one of a kind. That guy's a fairy. He's dust in the wind. That guy's been everywhere. He's screwed over Hard Knocks. That's why he no longer works for them. That's why he's no longer got a promotion called Prestige. That guy's nothing but a piece of shit to me. He had offered me the fight. Actually, on 32 days' notice, I took that fight with Adam Lorenzen. I've wanted that fight for so long, when Adam was actually a name in Canada. And, it's funny because he offered me the fight, and I immediately accepted it. I said, absolutely. So I took the fight. And it was funny because day 30 out from the fight, he ends up, he's done a little bit of marketing and promoting, hyping up the fight and stuff. And then what had happened was I ended up coming out of the gym training with Jesse Arnett in Calgary, and I get a voice message from Mr. Crowder's swearing at me, saying you're a goof, saying I'm off the card, I'll never be able to fight again in Canada, he's going to suspend me, and all this garbage. And I guess it was due to the fact that he expected my medicals to be in 30 days prior to the event, and I ended up getting them in. Anyways, I ended up getting them in the next day, which is 29 days, 1 day short. And I've been doing this for, since I was 17 years old, and I've never heard in my life medicals being handed in 30 days prior. So whether that's a Saskatchewan thing and maybe a new commission, I don't know, but that's absurd, because even if he had, and I even told him that, even if he had to replace me, that replacement is not even within 30 days of the medicals. So regardless whether he gets a replacement for me or not, that person, their medicals are no good anyways. So anyways, I think he was just coming up with excuses for the fight not to happen as the fight got closer. I ended up calling him, and I basically said, look, man, I'll give you the medicals by tomorrow. This was on the Friday, the 30 days out, when he left me the message. And I said to him, I'll give you the medicals tomorrow. So I give him the medicals the next day. I end up, running around, pulling some strings to get the medicals done, paying some extra money. And he ends up giving me a shout back, and he says, what the hell, they're not all here. I sent you some forms to fill out and some other documents that I need. Well, the guy wanted a criminal record check straight from the police station. He wanted a passport, which I'm not sure why, and he wanted another full physical that he had already had done, but he needed it on a certain piece of paper that was like a Saskatchewan type of form that all he had to do was just basically copy and print it out, and it was the exact same physical that I had already paid $100 and some for from my doctor, but he wanted me to do it again. Anyways, it just came down to a fact of like just absolute nonsense. So the next day, or the next day after that, it was like 2 days later on Monday, it was a business day, so I called him. I said, look, man, the weekend's over. I've done everything in my power to make this fight happen. I've even called Adam and apologized that my medicals are late, and I'll even give him a percentage of my purse, because on the contract, it actually stated that if your medicals are late, it is up to the promoter to either pull the fight or take off of your purse each day that it's late. And I was only 1 day late, and he ended up pulling the fight. He ended up bashing me, slandering me all over the internet, took my picture from my Facebook profile page and put a chicken on my head, and completely was disrespectful and the biggest piece of shit. So, I mean, it is what it is. That fight ended up, I'm pretty sure, falling through, and I heard he never paid half his fighters. And look at where the show's at now, right? I mean, it didn't happen. It hasn't happened again, and it won't happen again. And I'm sure if Mr. Crowder isn't seen on the street by a few fighters, I'm pretty sure it's not his lucky day, that's for sure. So,
well, he's been...
Yeah, that's what had happened, Nick. And honestly, man, I'm at the point where, I'm done with those type of promoters. They don't deserve to have a promotion license. And it's sad, really, because, I mean, people know me. I've never, ever declined a fight, ever. And the only time that I've ever missed weight in my whole entire career was the time that I missed weight with Adam Lorenzen. And, it was unfortunate, but I had training camp. I flew in from San Diego, and I wanted that fight more than anything. So, people talk, people say what they want to say, but at the end of the day, I've always proven them wrong, right? So
I know you mentioned you planned on taking this into legal matters. Did anything come from that?
no. I definitely just I ended up actually throwing some beats at him there on social media and deleted them, and then I've just blocked him. I don't even know if the guy's still alive. I just don't care, you know.
Well, he has been very low as far as social media. His Facebook was gone. You probably didn't realize this because you blocked him, but his Facebook and Twitter has were gone for so long. He's back on Facebook, but very private and all of that. Fighters have not talked to him. Nobody's talked to him in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I could care less. I mean,
Yeah.
the guy doesn't deserve to be heard. You know, he doesn't. Yeah, I got nothing good to say.
Sure. On the other hand, completely flip side, were you happy with MCL? Were you happy with Andre Pavlich? Did they treat you well?
Yeah, you know, I've known Pav and I've known Gabriel Santos, like I said, from the beginning of my career. So for me, they treated me well. It was a good event, and you know, it looked like there was a fairly sold-out crowd. So definitely good turnout for the first showing, and hopefully I'm back for the second one, and we can only build up from there. Like I said, I've always wanted the sport to grow in Manitoba. And for guys like Pat and Gabe that are trying to put on shows and, you know, having a great matchmaker like Gabriel and really making it fair, and it's, you know, it can only go up from here, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, well, Curtis, thank you once again. Really do appreciate it. Congratulations on the win over Travis Gervais last week at MCL 1 in the co-main event. Before I let you go, let my audience know where they can find you on social media, and if there's anybody you would like to thank or give a shout-out to, the floor is yours.
Yeah, you can find me at Demarce_C88 on my Instagram. My Twitter is Demarce MMA, Demon Demarce MMA actually. And then my Facebook fan page is just Curtis the Demon Demarce. I'd like to give a shout out to a few people. Darren Stewart here at the Healing Pot in Brandon, Manitoba. BAMA, Brandon Academy of Mixed Martial Arts, as well as WAMA. In Winnipeg, and just everyone that believed in me and is still continuing to believe in me. You know, I believe that teamwork makes the dream work, and I've been working with a great team here and back in San Diego, and you know, I feel like I'm just learning. You know, I'm 11 years into my pro career and 34 pro fights, and I'm still building. I'm still learning every day. This definitely isn't near, you know, the best that you've ever seen me, and I definitely will continue to grow and get better. And, you know, I want to get back into that top 3 in Canada. I want to be able to, you know, be able to prove myself and put Manitoba on the map again, and that's what I continue to do. I want my next fight to be a tough one, and I've never wanted easy fights, so we'll see. We're kind of scouting right now, and we'll know within the next 2 weeks who my next opponent is, and I think we'll definitely have an American in mind. So definitely thank you for everyone that came out and supported the first Mercenary Combat League, and hope to see you at the second one.